And the next gentleman I'm going to bring on stage, I would love for you to give him, I know you still got a lot of energy, please put your hands together and welcome Steve!
Hey guys, how's it going? I know I got an intro, but just out of curiosity, by round of applause, who thinks that Harry Potter's dad just jumped on stage? That sucks. I get that way more often than I wish I did. It has absolutely ruined erotic Harry Potter fan fiction for me, because now when I'm reading, I'm like, Harry, no, that's not what wands are for. I raised you better. I'll also get told that I look like I can teach, you know? I look like I could be a professor or something, and that's a little bit closer to the truth, you know? When I'm not performing comedy, I will often tour this great province of ours and give talks at schools. But that's more of a court-mandated community service thing rather than a vocational thing. Pro tip, if you are going to read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Boner, do it in the privacy of your own home and not in a public library. The court takes a dim view of that. So I hate terrorists because they've ruined the words radical and extreme for me. Alright guys? I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. My entire identity revolves around the words radical and extreme, okay? All my online profiles list me as a radical or extreme dude. If you were to travel back in time to my high school and say to someone, hey bro, number one, awesome Dayglow blazer. Number two, that's Steve Sloan. Is he extreme? They would very well reply to you, Steve Sloan, that dude's the extremist. And nowadays, that kind of language doesn't fly. Do you know what else doesn't fly? Steve Sloan, the self-professed radical extremist. That's who. He's on several FBI watch lists. But that's fine, because fuck the airport, am I right, guys? But not for all the usual reasons, security, blah, 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 right? I hate the airport because it's the only place in the world I've gone and ever been a victim of racism. Yeah, I was surprised too. Turns out, I fit a profile. You know what that profile is? I'm the guy that gets pulled out of line for a random inspection when the racist TSA agent wants to show everybody how super not racist he is. He looks around and he's like, who's not going to put up a fight and probably thank me afterwards? Professor Harry Potter's dad, thanks dude. Come on over here. Visible minorities, look how mean I'm being to this white guy. I bought a house recently, me and my special lady friend, we settled down, bought a house. Thank you, it was exciting for me too. We bought a house in Whitby, you know, because we crave excitement. My friends are constantly confusing Whitby and Oshawa. Oshawa's coming up a lot today, guys, I'm sorry. And I have to tell them that no, Whitby is not Oshawa, you know? One major difference is that, like, kids in Whitby might play a game like Mother May I, and kids in Oshawa probably play a game like Daddy Please Don't. Yeah? Okay, Oshawa, right? I didn't know how I pitched there, because I'm sure I'm gonna get beat the shit out after the show. Anyway, we bought a house, and we got a good price on the house, like suspiciously good. Like first act of a horror movie good. Like in hindsight, sheriff, they should have known better good, you know? So I say to my real estate agent, I'm like, Rosemary, be straight with me. Is this a murder house? And she's like, oh no, Steve. If it was a murder house, by law, I'd have to tell you. And I'm like, that makes sense. A gruesome murder-suicide probably affects resale values, right? She's like, no, because of ghosts. And I'm like, go on. It turns out that I guess this couple bought a house, unaware it was a murder house, and then successfully sued their real estate agent because they were afraid of vengeful spirits. Now, it doesn't surprise me that in 2015 grown-ass people are scared of ghosts. It saddens me, but it doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is that a judge, who I assume went to judge school, and was not in fact three small boys piled on top of one another wearing a robe and an off-kilter wig, you know, Little Rascal style, decided that being scared of the boogeyman was like an awesome legal precedent to set this country. But whatever, I'm protected from phantasms, so I lay down some money and we buy the house. Smash cut 2, first night in the house, we're woken by a blood-curdling scream, right? I get on the horn, I'm like, Rosemary, what the hell? She's like, don't sweat it, it's just coyotes. I'm like, oh good, just coyotes. Not a real problem like ghosts. What other surprises does Whitby have in store for me? Am I going to be shaking rattlesnakes out of my boot every morning? Am I going to be chasing ornery old prospectors out of my herb garden come spring? Am I going to be late for work because a mustachioed villain has tied damsels to the GO train tracks? I don't know what to expect here. I did a lot of due diligence on my way to, go and buy a house. It's important, but the one part of my book on Canadian home buying for dummies I didn't come across, I guess, was the be ready for cowboy problems part. Anyway, this has been great. You guys have been radical. I'm feeling radicalized. Let's get Judy back on here.